Hi, welcome. Hi, everybody.
Good to go. It's recording. Go for it.
Okay, Nikki, are you ready?
Yep.
The moment of truth. No, I'm kidding. So thank you, everybody, for coming here on a Friday. Hey, Mariana, we're literally just about to start, so thank you for joining. We wanted to, Nikki and myself, create a proposal with LastSlice Studios and Vroomway to bid for the project to build a Decentraland DAO HQ. And we put together a proposal. We did some renderings. We put our thoughts down, but we wanted to visualize and conceptualize and communicate those concepts with you, receive feedback, understand the project a little bit further, because we did go big and bold for one of our ideas. We submitted one that fulfilled all the requirements. That is not this concept. We are talking about the larger concept at play, because we had some ideas that go beyond the proposal for what we think our DAO can be, what it can become, and what it should sort of deliver to existing and new users in Decentraland. So with that being said, our pitch is, oh, and somebody just joined. Hey, Malloy. Our pitch is for a DAO Plaza. And I wanted to just quickly, if you can see my screen, review the summary of the original tender. And so you can read this, or I'm gonna read it out loud. This proposal looks towards the construction of the DAO headquarters in Genesis City, a virtual space that will serve as the epicenter of our operations, community activities, and welcoming space for new joiners. This headquarters should be more than a building. It will be a dynamic, immersive hub that encapsulates the spirit of decentralization, innovation, collaboration. So I paused on some words there because those are the words that Nikki and I thought about and really stuck out to us when we said, wait a second, this should be more than just a headquarters. It should be a plaza. And that is epicenter, more than just a building, dynamic, immersive hub. And what better hub than to create a plaza, and what better plaza to redevelop than Genesis Plaza? And so that was our concept. And so here's our pitch. Here's our pitch deck. I believe, let me share this link for anybody that doesn't have it. I'll put it in the voice channel. And so that's our 30-second elevator pitch. We can go over this in more detail. We have a lot of text here, but essentially we, and Nikki can chime in at any time, feel like Genesis Plaza 1 is stagnant. Hi, Rustan. There isn't a centralized team, and centralized is okay to say in terms of managing a concept, right? There isn't a central team managing Genesis Plaza. There's actually a studio pitch asking people to submit bids to update Genesis Plaza. And correct me if I'm wrong, it might still be SDK 6. So we want to replace Genesis Plaza with a DAO Plaza. We want to have a dedicated team, and this is sort of the maturity of the DAO, focusing on efforts like this to control a little bit more of what we do in the DAO and what we do in Decentraland. And so this will create this unified entry point, this epicenter, this dynamic, immersive hub for new users and existing users, right? And it's built by us for the community. We're not relying on the foundation and their team to update things or submit pull requests and have their team review things. We, as a DAO, will manage this entry point into Decentraland. And so we, LastSlice and Vroomway, are just the first team to lay the groundwork for this. We want to do this right, and we think implementing some processes through this proposal will set up future teams to work on this. And one other part of our proposal is we want to have a percentage of this plaza dedicated to people being able to deploy. So we might have heard me talk about this community plaza development scenario in the past, where you can, subdivide a plaza into little sections, and you can go reserve a section, and then that's your section to deploy. And then people can learn how to deploy on that little 1x1 or whatever parcel of land they've reserved within a plaza. So we want to, in our proposal for our DAO Plaza, we believe that a section of this plaza, 20 by 20, 400 parcels, should be sort of a sandbox. People can come in as new users or existing users that don't own land, might not have a name yet, and they can experiment, they can deploy. new users can also see those new deployments and say, whoa, that's really cool, or wow, that's wild. We can host contests and events in there as well. So beyond just the concept of a plaza, integrating development outside of our LastSlice Vroomway team, outside of the DAO, anybody can deploy. So, just quickly, and Nikki, if you want to chime in here as well on our vision, but LastSlice has done some amazing work in the past 2 years for huge brands, and they all came to us. They were never given to us from the foundation. And managing a budget and managing a team of 165 people at an agency from Samsung was like insane. We had 185 brand awareness deck that we had to maintain and stick to. So it was wild. So we have the knowledge and experience of managing large scale projects. That was only 100 parcels. We've also built for ourselves, and you can attest, Vroomway is, in my opinion, has whatever that holds, best experience in Decentraland. Nikki posted a video a year ago, I believe, maybe not even a year ago, this summer, of some updates, and it blew me away what they achieved. And so taking that creativity, taking those achievements, taking those experiences, taking the understanding and the knowledge and the skills that we've all collectively cultivated in the past 4 years, and really culminate in a shining gem of a plaza that we can all appreciate, and it's all built for us. So that's what we want to leverage. So again, the opportunity is a DAOHQ becomes a DAO city. We want to lay the groundwork for DAO technical processes through this proposal. This isn't just, hey, let's build a shiny HQ, have some functionality, allow people to come in, and that's it. And it's not even in a central hub. It's a 10 by 10 maximum per the tender somewhere else. So one, that can't really be too immersive. Yes, maybe. And three, it's not the epicenter because it's not literally the center of Decentraland. With that being said, this proposal, what we want to do is take that DAO and what we've talked about in the past month and a half and set up some processes in place. Let's get a GitHub going for our DAO, which they probably already have for their web application, but we need that technical support going forward once we hand over the platform to the DAO, right? So let's start working on that. Let's get some processes in place for managing GitHubs, for managing pipelines and reviews and continuous deployments. Let's maybe create a Catalyst server. I don't think we have a Decentraland Catalyst server yet. So as much as we like the word decentralized versus centralized, our DAO doesn't even manage a Catalyst. So if whatever happened in the world or with the foundation or in Argentina or anywhere and the servers went down, we don't have any control over that. We have 0 Catalyst servers. So this would hopefully kickstart some of these technical deficiencies that we have in our DAO to make us more mature so that we can, in a very responsible way, receive the handover in a few years. With that, maybe we create a DAO server. Angzar has their own server, VLM has their own server, Atlas Corp has their own server, Sandwich Game has some code for their own server. We don't have a DAO server that allows individuals, teams, groups that want to program in the DAO for a grant and utilize multiplayer functionality, PlayFab functionality, Calicious server functionality. You have to go spin up their own DigitalOcean or AWS servers. So we would like to implement a DAO server, and let's figure out ways to open source that for other grantees to be able to use and collaborate on. I already mentioned the development zone for new users. Part of our proposal is to include everybody in the decision making. And I kudos for people trusting us, LastSlice, Vroomway, Dapcraft, other people on these amazing concepts. But ours is so bold and big that we don't think it's fair to include. Hey, Peanut, is that Peanut just joined? We don't think it's fair to not include the rest of the DAO. So Nikki and I have sort of laid out a very, very ambiguous master plan. But we feel like we want everybody's inclusion in that. We're not, some of us are urban planners. I have a background in commercial real estate. I understand things differently. We all do. And so bringing all of those different experiences together, especially as Decentraland citizens, will help us build the best plaza, because we're not just doing this to make money. We literally want this to happen. We want a city. We want an epicenter. We want that immersive hub for everybody. And so that's what we want to do. This project would have pull requests available from Alpha, from Malloy, from anybody, from anybody that wants to. So setting up those processes to allow us, as we develop this, would then say, hey, wait a second, I'm in the DAO. Oh, that looks really cool. I want to add this. We go through the review process of looking at that pull request, and we integrate it into the development. Not only that, the design, from the aesthetics and everything, we've laid out what we think is a cool city, but we want everyone to think what a cool city is and build that. And with that last point is it allows for expansions in new buildings. Right now we have 2 to 5 squads, I believe. Who says we won't have 2 to 200 squads in 10 years, 5 years? So we were looking further than just building an HQ and saying, if we take a plaza and we create a city, it gives us the ability to expand beyond our current needs. So we know what we currently need. We can develop more within this plaza. We can have a city that has buildings that maybe are just facades for now. And with really good planning, really good signage, really good information, people would understand the hubs of areas to go. And so that's another concept of the plaza versus an HQ is once the HQ is built, that's kind of it. And, we can, yes, do some funny things in instancing and sorts, but the plaza really gives us, a massive canvas for future proofing our not only city, but the impact of our DAO. And so we have a vision for an architectural design, right? We think, and Nikki, if you want to go into this really quick, you can please take over. That'd be great.
Yeah, so like the way that I think about this is kind of like a capital city. So, you see these movies like Ready Player One, or if you've read the books, you can read it in there too. But all of these big, huge future metaverse platforms or worlds have a centralized city that they go to that has everything, all the hubs, all of the connectivity where new people log in for the first time. And Genesis Plaza lacks a lot of that because one of the biggest complaints that I have is when you drop in, you can't see the plaza around you. They've got the clouds, they've got colliders, so you can't go to the edge. And you think that you're just on this tiny circular platform and there's nowhere else to go. And so I think if people were to drop in and see that they were in an actual world, an entire city around them, and were immersed immediately, I think the retention would be a lot better. And not only that, but having the DAO representation be that first experience and that first impression is everything. Because I agree that not a lot of people, if anybody outside of this group, knows what the DAO is or that it even exists. And I think that's a huge opportunity to solve that issue, because we do want more people to be aware, because we want more of a diverse voting population, but also it could bring in really great projects, really great studios. So there's all kinds of potential for that. And I think that this, futuristic approach is a good way to go, because then you're not leaving up the opportunity for something to go out of date and having to update that all the time and constantly. So I think striving for something futuristic, something that is outside of what we know as like a normal world, because we have that freedom and that opportunity to do literally whatever we want, especially with the verticality. A lot of people or a lot of builds don't take advantage of going upwards. It's all like one level or like instancing different ways like we do that at Vroomway, but not a lot of verticality. So I think being able to create vast environments that are as captivating to people as soon as they jump in, but also has functionality to it. Because when you jump down the well in Genesis Plaza, there are vast structures and stuff, but literally not one of them has a functional use. And I think that that's a huge missed opportunity, because, not even foundation meetings are held in their own plaza, or their own district, their own place that they built for that purpose. And so being able to capitalize both on the aesthetic and the functionality, I think is going to give like I said, a better onboarding experience, but also at the same time, it's going to give a purpose for us to go and use the actual platform. Outside of what we all use it for personal needs and stuff like that. But yeah, you can look through the pitch. We've got some pictures and stuff.
Next slide. So Nikki, can I go to the next slide?
Yep.
Okay. So it's a little cheesy, but everybody who's listening, watching, if you're on the slide deck, don't go ahead. Just close your eyes for 10 seconds and imagine what you would like to see when you first spawn into Decentraland. For us, it's something crazy. It's Ready Player One. It's Star Wars Cloud City. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Tomorrowland. It's insane. It's wild, right? So again, this is what we see as an immersive hub. This is what we see as an epicenter. And the beautiful part is this is built by the DAO for the DAO. Yes, some people might not know what the DAO is or care, but do they know that the foundation built the Genesis Plaza or care? No, but it's really hard to update that because we're at the mercy of the foundation. So, understanding and again, maturing our DAO as influential as we can make it, I think a good first step is this type of plaza epicenter city. So we have images of what we think these cities are. We don't think this should be, again, designed by us. We have in our proposal a whole month of iterative concept and design. We do have one idea that we think we would like to implement, and it's on this slide on the right, is a floating amphitheater. So something on the right, top right, this image over here that I'm moving around, that is some Cloud City representation. We think that'd be really cool to have floating in the air as a amphitheater. And so, what Nikki mentioned about verticality is, yes, there are scenes that go up a couple floors, but, then you look out around and it's kind of like flat, right? It's kind of dead around you, or you might have your radius turned on so high that you see blank spaces everywhere. We wanted to change that. We wanted to create in the center, we have pyramids instead of these vertical rectangles or vertical pillars. We have pyramids that represent the Decentraland platform, surrounded by possibly, spoken wheel design of different aspects or different areas of concern or information or functionality. And so we just put some sort of, again, conceptualization in here for what we think, when you close your eyes for 10 seconds, what we think this could be. And that kind of gets to our concept. And what we've sort of laid out, again, we just put stuff together because this is how our brains work. And we want to share our creative abilities with input from the rest of the DAO. And so, yeah, Argent, that's great. So what would be amazing, Argent just said in the voice chat, text chat, said already have some ideas. So I think maybe this might be a good stopping point before we get into anything else. And it's really just talking about our layout for our idea, how we're going to do things. But we really wanted to hit on the high level of exactly what we hope to achieve with this proposal, because it goes beyond just building an HQ. It is an immersive hub. It is an epicenter of information. It is a first-time user launch experience into what Decentraland hopefully can become, that we all have aspired for it to become. In addition, it helps mature our DAO in terms of setting up processes and functionalities so that we can be responsible in the handover of this platform, that we aren't going through proposal after proposal wondering who's going to have review rights on a pull request because we need to change something or whatever. I don't like speaking about other projects, but if this does go to an HQ, I mean, who controls that? And it's semi-rhetorical. Like, what if someone here like Argent has a really good idea and it was left out? How do we get that to the update of the HQ for our DAO, right? So, understanding those types of things and trying to future-proof these unknown decisions by creating this SDK support team, by creating GitHub DAOs or DAO GitHub accounts, allowing people to submit requests that way, having a DAO, I don't care about the word centralization, a centralized managed team to oversee this stuff is going to be a requirement. So we thought this would be a great first step. So we have all the requirements of the tender. We have all that stuff. We have, we can get it done. It's been done in Angzar. It's been done in Vroomway. It's been done in Samsung, Netflix, Snapple, Steakum, McCormick's, every scene, Playboy, Wall Street Bets, everything, right? But our vision is more about the plaza. And so you can go through this proposal. You can see all of our designs. We wanted to explain the grandiose nature of this concept because we feel like what we should have as an impact, as an influence, as a destination is bigger than just an HQ. So, Nikki, if you have anything else, I was just going to open up to questions.
You said everything I was going to say, girl.
Awesome. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, please ask away. Or comments or concerns.
I'll speak up because nobody's saying anything. And I think you kind of hit on this a little bit, but I guess I'll just ask it here. Like my biggest fear would be like centralization within this, where it's going to be just a small core group working on it. And I guess like what I like about Genesis Plaza now is that it's foundation. It's not controlled or designed or kind of impacted by one group. And so I guess I believe you said something along the lines that different people would get to design it. I guess just putting it out there, that would be my biggest concern, is that I want it to be like decentralized by the foundation. However, at the same time, I want the design, like I want what you guys are bringing, the energy, the drive. I think it's good to have it moving in this direction. So I guess I would just put that out because it might be something other people in the community are concerned with too. Like, like I said, maybe you already touched on that, that other people will be allowed to build as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. Canessa, awesome. If anybody joined late, I think Matimus would join our team as well. And again, couple of things what Canessa said. So worrying about centralization, who can update this and why and how it happens. So the current proposal is for an HQ and a team. So we hire a team, they build a spot, great. How do we update that? We got to go to that team, which isn't necessarily at the DAO level per se. They're their own team. Getting to current Genesis Plaza, a question with a question. Who updates Genesis Plaza currently? No one. Is the foundation centralized or decentralized? So we have this weird concept that we expect things to be decentralized, but as Alpha just pointed in the voice chat, it is centralized. We do expect, there's no one else that can update Genesis Plaza except the foundation. That's it. And to me, that's pretty centralized, but also that's okay. The not okay part is we're not a part of that. And so we're the DAO, right? So that's what I wanted to change. And that's what I want to happen with this proposal, is this proposal would help create processes so that a DAO squad or committee can be under the DAO umbrella of proposals or whatever we need to do as a DAO to manage those updates. Because right now you can't go to a single person at the foundation and ask them to update. You would have to go through a pull request, but there's not one person or team that manages Genesis Plaza. So I like centralization in one way, but let's take it and put it in our DAO. And LastSlice and Vroomway are not going to be the last. We're not going to be the first. We're not going to be the middle to do this. We will be a part of the first. We want to include the rest of the DAO. So we want to be the team that is literally hands on keyboard building this thing, because you trust us with our prior experience to build the most badass experience for all of us. and everybody will have input. I understand too many cooks in the kitchen. I get that. So we have a structured vision, but we want to include the revision process with everybody. And so once this is done in 6 months or whatever, the DAO will have control over this GitHub. The DAO will be able to say, hey, SDK support team or other teams or whoever wants to can continually update and maintain this.
And also keep in mind too that the concept images that we posted are laid out in a 20 by 20. So it looks like huge and like that there's a lot going on. But when you scale it down to an avatar, you're basically like wandering around endlessly and there's endless things to do. And all of that layout, all of that structure, all of those buildings can be completely changed if the community doesn't like it. Like what Lastraum's saying about including everybody is exactly what we want. We want everybody to have a say in how this works, because it's not just us that are traversing this platform. It's not just us that are, and in fact, there's people on this channel who are onboarding people more than I am. So I definitely want everybody's opinion in how this works and what you guys think is the best. So don't take what we laid out as a concept as like final design.
Yeah, great point. Kanessa, did I answer your question? And if anybody else, please chime in with anything.
Yeah, you did, and it's kind of just one of those rhetorical questions too, as well as then if we do, when we hand over the keys to the DAO, then that sounds like another committee that we'll have like to make decisions. It's trying to figure out how to do this in a decentralized way, and realizing that sometimes shit gets done when it's centralized, and so. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you also having an image with this as well. Pretty sure you saw my feedback on that, but appreciate having something to show what your team's capable of. We know what it's capable of, but definitely appreciate that.
No, thank you. And, we built this. Hi, KJ. What's up, Cata de Cruz? We built this because maybe some people are looking at this that don't know us. That don't understand who we are as players, right? So I think part of that in these pitches and proposals, as you mentioned, Kanessa, in the DAO general chat, is, doing a process like this as a requirement, because feedback is great. It's part of the pitch. It's you can easily click a no, yes, abstain vote and do a little smiley, but that's not like great feedback, in my opinion, for the grantee submitting the proposal. Because how do I improve going forward? That status quo, that standard is so low that I can continue to create shit proposals because I'm getting shit feedback. So hopefully with this like whole proposal and tender being the bid tender first one, there's a lot that we can learn and improve on. And that's part of why we went so big. Let's see, Cata de Cruz. How would you be able to ensure the long-term lifespan of the build? How would a VR client interact versus the Explorer? As the experiences will vary going forward, as certain VR will come. Awesome. Great question. How will you be able to ensure the long-term lifespan of the build? Again, we are the sort of hands on the keyboard for this first groundwork system. And so, decentralized versus decentralized, at some point, somebody has to make a decision. I don't think there's a system yet in a decentralized way that manages pull requests. Now, there are, layers and you need multiple people, but still that boils down to a centralized way. But we would like this to be built under the DAO GitHub. So we'd have to create that. Having some, merge request, pull request review process in place by a select panel sounds centralized, but I think, again, I really don't care. I want it to be managed. Somebody has to manage something. Robots aren't running everything. So we can't be fully autonomous. We aren't yet. So in that vein, we would be the first hands on keyboard, but along the process, if people have updates or see things differently, they can submit these pull requests or changes and we can implement them. And then we don't own this code. It's part of the DAO code base, the DAO GitHub code base, and whoever else wants to manage or maintain it will manage or maintain it. That's why I mentioned the DAO server. That's why I mentioned a Catalyst server. We don't even have a DAO World server, I think. I might be speaking out of turn here, but we don't even have that. So, things like this would come about that we could set and put in place so that we can curb these. As for other experiences like VR, that's unknown to me. We build what we can in the best ability that we have today. So understanding that roadmap from the foundation, like, hey, VR is coming in 3 months. Maybe we would then understand how our UI system can go from 2D to semi 3D 2D, right? So you have some like panels in front of you that VR can sort of reach out and touch, right? So always staying in tune with what we can provide with the best tool set that we have right now. So hopefully that answers you.
Hey, what's up, Lastraum, Nikki? It's Alpha. I just wanted to say thank you for breaking this down, because I actually see the proposal a lot differently now. At first, I was just looking at numbers and realized I'm like the bid tenders for HQ and what they offered was like 10x the vision of what was asked for. So that's the reason why I was a no at first. But listening to you guys break it down and share, obviously you guys have experience of building a plaza. Angzar was, that's an amazing plaza that has more, I would say, more people talk about Angzar than any other plaza, not including Genesis Plaza, which is, interesting. So I know that this DAO Plaza idea is in good hands. And I do actually want to see it come to life, because I do realize, like, if we have a plaza that we can consistently grow, I feel like that would bring a lot more impact when onboarding. Because like for people like Sinful Me, who would like sit there and just asking for anyone to ask us questions so that we could help them, it'd be easier to take them to a part of the city where we could say, hey, just walk around, like I'll walk with you, and we can actually like learn as we're around the city, rather than people fly into Genesis Plaza, they don't know what the hell to do, and they're lost, and then they end up just leaving. And I feel like the DAO, as much as we don't want a brand new user to like get too confused with the DAO, I would definitely like them to learn that first, so they can realize how valuable of a like quote unquote user or person they actually are. Like they have a voice here. Decentraland is user owned. If we have a DAO Plaza, that actually promotes more of our mission of having something that's user owned that we could grow together as a community, and not just like what you're saying. Technically, Genesis Plaza is centralized. I don't know how much time it took for them to finally get an AI in there that could answer questions for when people aren't there, and there's no like not abandon the users. But even that AI character isn't being utilized like it should. Like main point I'm saying is that Genesis Plaza, it's historical, but the new people who would want to create value to it say, hey, I think you guys might need this, you guys might need that. It won't be implemented until a fashion show or something comes where they want something of theirs to be changed. That's when they update the plaza. Or they'll like change your location of spawning in. Like it's all foundation based when it comes to Genesis Plaza. DAO Plaza, to be able to have like the community of users growing that, they know what the plaza needs. They know what the world needs.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. And Nikki, chime in too. DAO Plaza is sort of just the moniker for the project. We can keep it Genesis Plaza. We as a DAO would build that, and when new users come in, it's not that they know that it's built by the DAO versus the foundation, but the assumption, at least to me, is when people join the world, they're expecting it all to be built by other users, right? I mean, that might be a gross assumption on my end, but that seems like the assumption, sure. Right? So then it's like, you look around and you're like, man, this Genesis Plaza was built by users? Like, that's so dope. Well, actually not. And whether we force feed people that it was built by us or not, whether it's through a tutorial or through other information system, we just want to take that central spawn point and make it by us, essentially. And so if a user finds out that that whole experience was built by the community, that's awesome, right? But I think we have the ability to continually update, like you said, the plaza, because there isn't really a content team anymore at Decentraland. So there's no one building content. So somebody has to step outside of their role and go update the plaza. And that's what we want to sort of avoid. So yeah, DAO Plaza, we can keep it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
My bad. I was just gonna say, I completely agree with that. I feel like I wish more of the foundation was here to listen to that, because that's where they should start pivoting, where like you should start, updating your plaza so that it can be a major tool for onboarding. Like
So-
it can be helpful for a new person to simply sit there and learn about the world rather than they're sitting there just typing in chat. Can anyone help me? Can anyone help me?
Totally. But you know what? Let's take that burden off the foundation and let's mature our DAO and let's take control of that, right? Why not? We're all capable. And I mean, to be cynical, and this is the only time I'll throw a dig today, is like the foundation doesn't go in the world that much, right? I mean, we all sort of say that behind their backs. I'll say it in person, right? So everybody here goes into we go into the platform more than they do. So why wouldn't we want to build something that we enjoy, that we think and we know new users will want to enjoy and experience? I don't know.
100%. And I feel like it's a great like as much like when I first came to DCL, the DAO didn't exist to me. It was just like, whoa, this is a cool world, cool games. Like I was just exploring. And I feel like that's a lot of new users. They're just exploring. Like they don't know nothing about a DAO. They don't know nothing about voting power. They don't know anything about that. And I feel like if they were to just be able to walk into a plaza and realize that, it would kind of like inspire people to like pick up a broom, pick up a, just kind of want to help themselves, want to learn more about a DAO, like realize like, oh, I can make a difference here. I can create here. I don't have to like just blend in or like be in the shadows. I feel like, I don't know, at DAO headquarters, you're right. I think it's a little simple. It's kind of plain. It's just a building that has the utilities that we would need to basically bring our online website of a DAO in the world. But why not expand on it?
I agree. That's a great comparison. Bringing the DAO website in world, we want to do more than, and no offense again to the foundation, but who in this call room DAO community user decided it was a good idea to start in a cloud and jump down a waterfall into a bar as your first experience? I mean, that's not a dig. That's literally what the fact. So it's like, no, Peanut Butter said I did that. So it's like we have with this concept, this proposal, we have the ability to capture that first time user experience. And Peanut Butter mentioned something great. Polygon Online did build a really nice onboarding experience, right? That takes you out to a world. That's awesome. But again, like the first time you jump into Decentraland, you will be in the clouds in Genesis Plaza. How many people, again, because we use the platform, watch others just stand there and not know what the hell to do? It's like crazy, right? So we want to totally change that. We want the ability for our DAO to manage that, because why not, right? Let the foundation build the hard shit. We want to take the fun shit, right? Like that's kind of what I see it as. Let the foundation do heads down, and maybe we can't impact the platform for another year or so because they're heads down building something awesome. Well, let's go build some fun stuff in the platform as we know it so that people can enjoy it while all this other cool hard stuff is being built. And
when you have an open environment like this, it's also a lot easier to traverse the plaza with the person rather than trying to teach them the go-to command and then hopefully praying that you're going to be able to see them when they teleport to the next spot that you're going to, if it's not just like a ghost avatar or whatever. Whereas with this open concept that we have is you literally can walk over to a tram system with each other and like take this whole tour of the city, and you can tell them where everything is. If they want to go to a certain place, you can take a train there, or you can take a personal pod there, or it's getting away from the traditional traversing that we know and love. Well, some of us love, some of us hate, of just teleporting everywhere or /go-toing everywhere, and actually experiencing the world like it's meant to be, like it was created to do. I think the Genesis Plaza lacks a lot of that, because once you go downstairs, there's nothing to do because nothing works, nothing's functional, there's no purpose for anything other than just eye candy. And at some point, the eye candy goes away because again, you can't do anything with it.
Great point. I was going to bring that up, so thank you that you did. Sorry, LA is always on fire. It's amazing. If you've ever on a voice chat with me, you pretty much hear fire trucks all the time. But I bring up this GIF or GIF, however you want to say it, of this Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet. I love this movie. It's so awesome. It conceptualizes whimsically like what the future could be. But think of these little pods that they jump into to traverse the city, and apply that to what Nikki just said, right? So maybe you are ADD and want to just immediately jump from point to point, sort of like an Angular. You click on the map icon and it teleports you. Okay, that's awesome. But maybe you want to take the lazy way and experience something different. Again, immersive, right? And so we have an idea for a tram system that you jump into these pods. Again, all multiplayer, people can see these pods going all around, and you choose, you want to go from the hub to maybe the committee hub. And so you jump in this pod and people will see you visually go off, and you'll fly with this pod over to that, right? So we have the ability to like really do some amazing things visually, immersively, versus just the ADHD click, 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 click. Where's my wearable? Click, click, click. Where's the Pope? How do I get here? How do I get there? And it's like, let's enjoy this experience, or create that enjoyed experience for people that want to do it. So we have that in mind. That's sort of what all of these strings, these little spaghetti noodles look like, is sort of the concept of taking a pod system to and from different buildings. Genesis Plaza sort of has that, but it's just dead. I don't know. It just doesn't feel fully thought out. And that's okay, because, you know, it's 3-4 years old. Let's improve it. Yeah, and Kata makes a great point too, Kata de Cruz. The foundation, you know, takes care of certain things in the plazas for now, but who will take over that when they're supposed to do this handoff, right? So again, part of this proposal is structuring our DAO now, so that we can be prepared for that handoff and manage those plazas. I went to a military boarding school because I played sport and I was recruited there, and I had a tactical officer that said the 5 Ps: prior planning prevents piss poor performance. And so that's what I want to do. I know the handoff is in 5 to 7 years from now, but who says we can't start now in planning for that handoff? Any other questions, comments, ideas? Alpha, thank you. You know, we want to inspire people. At least my opinion, and Nikki, if you've seen anything they've done, hopefully you're inspired by what they've accomplished and achieved with Vroomway and all of their wearables and all of their systems and seasons. We aren't just putting a proposal together to get paid. If you've seen anything that we've done collectively in the space, we're here in the DAO. We're on calls. We're a part of proposals. We're listening to CBD spaces. We're in the community. We understand the space. We build for desire and creation, not for financial gain. And so if you did the math on this financial portion, you know, it breaks down to about $150 an hour on the software development side. Take that for what you will, part of the world, cost of living, et cetera, et cetera. So I know there's a financial component to this, but we approach this from a creative component because that's what we've always done with our builds and our impact in the space. This isn't, again, just another check for us. This is something impactful. And I hope that everybody can see that with how big we went, how expansive we went, all of the other concepts and ideas beyond just delivering on the tendered bullet points.
Lastraum, I have another question, or possibly 2 questions, depending on the answer of it. I promise I'm not poking the bear, but much. So if this is going to be, some place where instead of Genesis Plaza, where the users would spawn into here in the future?
Correct.
And have you had Foundation's blessing? I guess my thought is, what happens if they're just like, nah, no thanks, we're not interested, and they just don't want to?
I love that. I love that you bring this up, because if anybody's heard me speak or get testy, it's because I like to bring common sense. And so you love the words decentralized and centralized. So what if they say no? What does that show in the impact, the ability of our DAO to manage things, the foundation to accept our desires and include us? What does that do? It's, again, semi-rhetorical, right? So I almost poking the bear. I kind of like poking the bear in the sense of real change, right? So we say foundation, the entire DAO got behind this concept for this, all these reasons. We want to transform Genesis Plaza. And they say no. What would that do to the taste in all of our mouths?
It would be the same taste we got when you asked if we downvoted their manifesto, would they still do it? And they said yes.
Thank you for bringing that up, Sinful. And in a less combative tone, that's very unfortunate. And it would be a huge wake-up call for all of us, right? And so, again, poking the bear, I think it's time our DAO starts to mature beyond just like patting each other on the back for proposals and shit like that, and get serious about our impact in this platform going forward. And I will say, I got an email. Some of the best communication is from, funny enough, the Decentraland Studios grant project that built the studio's website. They always tweet me. Alejandro, I believe, is awesome. He always says Lastraum. There's all these updates. One of them is a pitch, or excuse me, a bid, tender, whatever you want to call it, to redevelop Genesis Plaza. So the foundation is actually asking studios, or there's on the studio website a bid for updating Genesis Plaza because they don't have the bandwidth. They just don't. And it's actual headcount. They literally don't have the headcount. They have the finances. 1.86 million mana vesting per month, divided, times that by 50 cents. That's how much money per month they can pull out. So they're asking studios to update Genesis Plaza by February, literally in the moment. And that's another reason why I brought this up. What's up, everybody that just joined? Is the foundation already wants Genesis Plaza to be updated. So let's kill two birds with one stone. Terrible analogy, but let's do it. Why not?
Thank you for that, Lastraum.
And again, we have an idea. It's on screen. It could be totally revamped. We want it to be revamped. I know some 3D modelers just joined the call. If they have an idea for like a building or something, let's do it. Let's figure it out. Again, the money is there. We're not concerned about the money. Thanks, Fez, for joining. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. But if people want to submit ideas, like that's what we want to do. We want to include everybody. Oh, if Kata de Cruz says we have two pyramids, but the rest of the logo, yeah, we'll get there with the moons. Somebody can design
one
that.
of them is actually there. I just hid the bigger one because it was blocking a couple of the buildings and it wasn't good for one single photo, but they are there. Just prefacing.
Yeah. Kata, wake up and open your eyes. I just thought of something. Why can't Genesis Plaza be on its own world? And again, isn't somebody working on like DCL history or something like that? I don't know. But you know what? Sinful, you bring up a great point in the voice chat comments here. And again, anybody can ask any questions and talk over anybody. This is like a conversation, right? So if you have an idea, that just shoot at the hip, talk about it. Just like Sinful said, where's the giant Mew? We want the ability, if you want to add that, to like have some sort of process where we can integrate that somewhere. I think that would be cool. Like, why couldn't you have Mew balloons as maybe a celebration symbol or somewhere all over? I don't know, giant Mew hydrogen blimp. I don't know. Why not? You can't do it now, I'll tell you that, in Genesis Plaza. So we're coming up on the hour. We have 6 minutes left. I wanted to keep this short. There is a recording of this. We can wrap it up. If people have any other further questions, comments, concerns, we can, answer them in the general chat in our forum post for the proposal. I'll put this link in here. Yeah. Any other further questions, comments before we sort of wrap up?
All I got to say is thank you, guys. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. And so hopefully, again, we want to be transformative. We don't want to just be taking a proposal and fulfilling its requirements. We want to go big. We want to go bold. We want to transform the platform. We want to include everybody in the platform. We want to make the platform the best that it can. We feel like a DAO Plaza, whatever the name is, call it Genesis Plaza, created by the DAO. We feel like that is the best opportunity to create that immersive hub, that dynamic epicenter for first-time users that gives us the ability as a DAO to mature with our technical processes for improving code, managing code, updating code, adding other users. We feel like this concept goes bigger than just fulfilling the proposal requirement, in the sense that we are here pitching semi-live with a pitch deck on voice, answering questions. So hopefully a lot of what we're doing, again, can transform our DAO, because that's what we do. We care for it. We aren't just submitting bids and never seeing us in anything. I'll be on CBD Spaces tomorrow doing the exact same thing, maybe not for as long. I took time out of my day to do this. This, I think, are things that can be improved and required going forward, not just for this proposal, for all proposals. So again, this concept is transformative. It's huge. It's bold, but progress doesn't happen when you just answer bullet points. We want progress within the platform. We want progress within the DAO. And if you guys want progress and you want to be a part of that progress, that's where we're at. That's where the votes go for this proposal. And again, Nikki and I both thank you so much, all of you, for joining, for answering questions, for listening, for commenting beyond just a smiley face and a vote. This is a living, dynamic project. And so we wanted to continue on beyond our first team working on this. And Nikki, if you wanted to wrap up.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody and their perspectives. It's great to have these conversations. I think in the future, these should be required from every team, just so that everybody can make a more well-informed vote. I think that's extremely important when we're talking about taking over certain aspects such as this from the foundation. So yeah, and feel free, always ask questions. Anybody has any art questions, I'd be happy to answer. Anybody has any ideas, art ideas, totally throw them by us. Like Lastraum said, we're totally open.
Awesome. I think that's it. We're under an hour. Thank you so much, everybody. The recording will be posted. We're on Discord, Twitter, all the freaking social medias. So just get at us if you have any questions, comments, want to help, want to be a part of it. Yes, let's go. I am open on the development side to add more people to this project. That's what we want. And we need more people on the 3D team as well. So please get in touch with us, and thank you for your time.